Hi, I'm Leslie Kendal. I'm the Chief Historian of the Petersen Automotive Museum, and I have the great pleasure of being with Mr. David Sydorick, owner of this fantastic Aston Martin, which we've asked him to tell us about, and now I can't wait to hear about.
Well, that's another long story.
Okay.
The car stayed in Italy for a few years after it was born in Milan. It then was brought to America by Dr. Nicholas Begovich of Fullerton in the late 60s, and he had it for 29 years in his garage. So it was clearly the last Aston Martin Zagato in the barn.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knew it was there. Everybody tried to buy it. And as a Zagato collector, I went there and I tried to buy it. And the first time I arrived, I could see it in the distance with a cover over it. It was up off the ground on stands. And I could tell by his body language that I was not to lift the cover. And for that first trip, I did not lift the cover and I never saw the car. So I started to pursue him and we became friends and we did things together, and I got to see the car, and Ginny and I spent a lot of time with Nick and Lee. And about 3 years later, he said to me, "Are you still interested in the Aston Martin Zagato?" And I said, "Yes, of course I am." And he said, "Well, maybe we can talk about that next year."
So that's
so anyway, yeah, the time passes and it did happen, and he donated the car to Caltech to fund a chair there. And I was the recipient of the car and they were the recipient of the funds. And Nick made a nice donation, and it was his first car in 50 years that he had sold.
Wow.
And he had collected cars for many years. He worked for Hughes. He installed defense systems in Europe and brought home a new car with him all the time, although this one was here. So I finally got it from him. It took about 3 months. He just wasn't ready to part with it. And I got it from him and brought it here. It was a different color. It hadn't run in years. It needed restoration, and the world began to tell me what I should do with my car. So Miles Collier, of course, is the connoisseur of what to do with an unrestored car.
You bet.
He happened to be in Los Angeles. This car had just received, it was sitting in this garage here. I said, "Miles will have the answer for me." So Miles came, walked around the car, and I was really kind of relieved because then I would know what to do after Miles, understood the car and the situation. So he walks around the car, very methodical, and he looks at me and he says, "Let the car tell you." I said, "Okay. Miles, thank you. That's helped me greatly." And so I went on to paint it green. It was probably blue. It was a very strange red color when I received it with gold wheels. I had it done by Steel Wings outside of Philadelphia, who exclusively did Aston Martins and had done a Zagato before. So that was 18 years ago, I think. Yeah. Nick passed away this past year. He would have been 100 years old.
Oh, wow.
And a wonderful guy and a wonderful car collection.
And the whole reason that you pursued the car and restored it so carefully is because of the body, how beautiful it is, and the history behind the car. This car seems to have everything going for it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this car had never been abused, never been wrecked, never been low mileage. So it was a good car to restore and easy to restore.
Good.
Easy, but
good
not
to
so
hear.
Easy. They made 19 cars, 8 cars with a left-hand drive. Many of them were race cars. Of course, Aston Martin went to Zagato and said, "Build us a lightweight car so we can beat the Ferraris." That was the intent. Never worked out that way, but in the meantime, the world got a beautiful, beautiful shape and a wonderful car here. So they made 19. This was the Turin show car. So for a show car, they polished it up a little bit. So usually the surrounds here are polished aluminum and they're chrome here. Likewise here, this is usually polished aluminum and they're chrome here. The bumpers are on the front and rear. Not my favorite item, especially in the front. I think it interrupts the architecture of the front. But it was born with these bumpers on it, so I kept them. They never made a double bubble roof on this car at all. They had a hood that had 3 bubbles in it. They made 2 cars that had the DB4 scoop on it. This is one of the 2. Elio Zagato's personal car had the scoop, and this car had the scoop. Again, shiny for the show. The wheels are a little shiny. This is a bit shiny. This strip along the bottom was extra for the show. Chrome bumper in the back, and a little shine here and there.
The architecture is similar to other twin cams. You could tell it's a twin cam.
Yeah.
An extremely efficient engine with inclined valves,
Yeah.
1 camshaft each, and it looks like you've got yourself a dozen spark plugs.
Right.
A
twin cam.
2-plug head.
Yeah.
For that extra fire.
That's right.
When in every combustion impulse. But it's extraordinary.
Before this, I always thought you needed 12 cylinders to go fast. You don't.
You just need 12 spark plugs.
Well, and the torque, is wonderful on this that you don't have in other cars. It's got great torque. It'll run with a 289 Cobra. It's just
I'll bet.
Feels really nice.
When you're out on the road with it, do people respect the car?
Well, if they know what it is.
But they have to understand that it is something older.
Yeah.
It's old enough to vote.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's old enough to have grandchildren. So
right.
I would think that people would, maybe give you a bit of a wide berth.
Right.
Because they understand it's like,
Let's take a look at the back. It's equally exciting.
Oh. All right, that's what this car's about. This car's about getting down the road.
Getting down the road.
And not having to stop a lot when you do.
It's a big tank. Wonderful fuel pumps there on the right.
Oh, yeah.
No need for luggage. Little space in the back.
Yeah. I guess long distance vacationing is not what this car's about.
Right. And on the inside, the traditional Zagato seat, which is very comfortable, very lightweight. Green as it should be for Aston Martin.
And it looks comfortable.
Many of them had different dashboards and different shapes. This is the traditional.
Echoes the grille shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been to Goodwood a few times. It won the Goodwood Cartier Deluxe. We had it at Villa d'Este, drove it around Italy, drove it back to Zagato there that time. Morella managed the car for a weekend there at Villa d'Este. It's been enjoyed a lot of places.
And it's not your only Zagato bodied vehicle. You are a collector of Zagatos, which is a kind of an enlightened choice. Zagato. So they're rare.
Yep.
They're delicate.
Yeah. This is less delicate. Again, I think the
racing ones are.
Yeah, the earlier ones and the earlier Zagatos are even thinner metal and much more delicate.
What makes this car especially interesting right now is that this is the 60th anniversary of the Aston Martin Zagatos, the GTZ. It's an extraordinary vehicle. You look at this and you can't help but wonder if it's new, if it's old. But what you do know is that it's a sculpture. It's a sculpture on wheels. It gives you so much pleasure. It's pleasure looking at it, pleasure in looking at the mechanics and appreciating how it goes down the road, pleasure in interacting with it. You get to grab the wheel and have some fun with it. And I'm so glad that Mr. Sydorick drives it. I'm thrilled. Cars are meant to be driven. That's part of how we teach people about automobiles. They have a functional component, and you cannot fully understand them unless they're running under their own power.